Greetings, friends and fellow rebels, and welcome to the woods. We have just spoken about the multi-dimensionality of humans and of our world, and the blatant fact that illnesses, disease, whether they be physical or mental, are not just a product of the physical reality, but have a lot to do with how we are relating to the astral, the etheric, and beyond. Because this flesh would not be alive if it wasn't empowered by spirit. For those of you with a more scientific bent, you can understand the spirit as being the electrical that runs the body, the electrical that is maintained by the body and that runs the body. But within that electrical field is the characteristics, the embodiment of spirit. We have a duplicate of this body on the astral and a duplicate of that body on the etheric. The energy comes down and down and down and down until it condenses and solidifies into this dense property. So, if you want to cure a schizophrenic, someone whose psychic abilities are not grounded and not contained by consensual reality, or the need to discipline into consensual reality, you have to work with spirit forces. Because a lot of psychopaths, schizophrenics, and some say true narcissists, not people who are selfish or self-centered occasionally or all the time, but people who actually suffer a true classic narcissist syndrome, that these people are being influenced from outside of them. And they don't have the knowledge or the desire to shut that down or to switch channels into something not so dire. Now, I had somebody ask me a few months back about how to stop negative thoughts from affecting. And from what I understand, what I've heard and what I know about people who are constantly hearing a negative dialogue, a lot of that comes from outside of you. People who are sensitives, people who are high-level psychics who can hear the thoughts of others. When they're children and it's noted by non-corporeal entities, oh look, here's a bright light. Oh, they can hear us. It is an unfortunate problem that there are non-corporals who like to drink the energy, the emotion, energy in motion, emotion of us by latching on and provoking anger, upset. It's a lot easier to provoke that than joy and happiness. And for them, it's a lot more potent to feed from. It's spicier. There's more there. Not entirely true, but for them, perhaps, because the frequency they're on, that feeds them. So, if you want to get rid of the thoughts, if you want to get rid of the influence, you have to pull out the tentacles, and you have to seal the hole, and you have to get rid of the parasite. Other cultures who are not as designed and ruled by that which farms us have much better technology, spiritual technology, in how to do that. they have people who watch for that in their population and intervene when the person's just a child or an adolescent. And so for them, the only person who suffers these problems are adults who are calling for it or who fall into special categories, special circumstances, and who know that if they need to, they can go home and appeal to their local medicine person to lift the burden. But these parasites are just parasites. And while we have gone through a phase, and we're still going through it some, where we don't understand other dimensions or have much to do with them or see them or even acknowledge they exist in some cases, because we have the religion of science, the religion of psychology that dominates our culture. Because of that, we can't deal with them. Giving people drugs that shut down their spiritual ability doesn't master the problem. It will mask it and it will get these things off your back for a while, but what are you sacrificing in the meantime? You know, it's like saying, you know, my legs ache because I have growing pains. Well, cut them off. You know, it's not a solution. What you need to do is master your spiritual gifts. But first, you have to overcome some of the huge problems that stand in our way. And a lot of people who aren't going to like this. Our religion has been set up to scare us into giving deference and money and time and position to people who are spiritual, I say practitioners, those who supposedly hold the prime form of the spiritual leader. And the priests, the ministers, the rabbis, and some of them do. Some of them have amazing spiritual power and can use that to help you, and others. But most of them are just following the script. They say what they're told, they do what they're told, they have a little ritual that they do, and some of those rituals are somewhat effective in some regards. Granted, a lot of very spiritual people who want to help others get into that profession, that lifestyle, that vocation. But their dogma limits them, keeps them in a box. So they don't have as much strength as they could. Those who farm us want to be able to have access to us and parasite off of us and leech off of us. So they make sure that we believe that we can't take our power back, that we can't take our sovereignty, that Earth is just about suffering. Suffer, 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 and if you get to the end of that, then you get to go to this wonderful paradise where it's all good forever. Only that's not how it works. Paradise, both heaven and hell, are different dimensions of right here, which means you can make this heaven or hell for yourself, depending on how you hold yourself and your energies. Now, unfortunately, a large number of us believe that, at least in my current culture, we are taught, and thus we believe, that this world belongs to the adversary, the devil, the opposite of the great divine force. We are told that our whole life we're going to be dominated by that, because that's what this world is. And we won't be able to see the divine, experience, touch it, truly be in it, until we die, until we give up this physicality. But whoever convinced us of that, it's very self-serving. It's very self-serving for them, because it means they get to dominate us without a fight. And they assure that we will follow their spiritual leaders, those who have been elevated above us spiritually, that we'll follow what they say. And the scripts they're getting are not coming from a divine source in most cases. So we need to start by acknowledging the problem for what it is. It isn't some big scary force that owns this world and who we can't overcome. No. The problem actors are parasites. They don't have any spiritual power of their own. They take it from us. That's why they're leeching off of us. They take it from us. And if we don't want them to have power over us, we have to starve them. The vampire is a perfect representation of these parasites. They don't have independent life force. They don't have independent power of spirit. But they have a great deal of power when they take it from us. When they take it from us. I'm getting chastised from all sides. So, in spite of there being a lot of other energies around that really don't want me to deliver this message, you can start taking your sovereignty back. If you have issues with parasites, if you get thoughts or feelings from outside of you that's detrimental and it leaves you feeling drained, think about that one. Start taking your power back by understanding these aren't scary, demonic. Yeah, it's what we've always called demons, but let's roll it back a bit. I'm picky about words. Let's choose a word that actually describes them in terms that allow us to fight them. Okay? If you discovered that your little child had a tapeworm, you wouldn't tell your child, oh, you've got a scary monster inside of you that's gonna take over your whole body and it's hopeless and there's nothing we can do and it's so horrible. And you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't scare them that way. You would give them to understand that there's a problem that we can fix, and we're going to start now. So, yeah, parasites are unpleasant and it takes some work to get rid of them, but you can do it. This is the spiritual war that we're waging. There's little parasites that bother individual people, and there's much bigger ones. Some of those, their full activities we're going to be finding out soon. But they're not amazing powers. The ones that have amazing powers took them from us. And if we starve them, just like you would a vampire, they dry up and go away. So, let's start now. Start thinking about those scary demonics, those little parasites that we're going to get rid of. And welcome to the woods.